Hey everyone, how you doing today? I have a treat for you. I have Jennifer Rice, and she's from the suburbs of Indianapolis, Indiana. So welcome to our podcast and welcome to our show. I'd love to hear about you and your background. So fire away, my friends.
Well, hi, friend. How are you today? I'm so thankful you invited me on here to talk about good old Indianapolis and the surrounding areas. So, I am from a suburb of Indianapolis on the north side, Noblesville. And, I was born and raised here. And, Indianapolis is a great place to live. And, so it was me and my family. I have a small family, my sister and I. She's about 8 years younger than me. But yeah, I grew up there, went to high school there, went to college at Indiana University,
Oh
the
my goodness.
location downtown, yes, Indianapolis. So Hoosiers. But yeah.
Oh, great. Fantastic. So your background is, man, you were born and raised, so you know everything and anything of the insides and outs. Okay. So how did you decide to get into real estate? What inspired you?
Well, that's a great question. So, my passion, honestly, was in hospitality. I worked for Marriott for about 18 years
Wow.
and some other hotels prior to Marriott, but they transferred me all over the country to open up new hotels and to train their staff and things like that in the front desk. So, hospitality has always been my passion. That's what my degree is in event management. So honestly, I never thought about real estate, in my life until COVID hit. And then, of course, as you know, in 2020, no one was traveling. They had to lay everyone off. So honestly, I just was beside myself. I didn't know what to do. And then I had a friend who was also laid off, and she's like, you know what? We would be good at real estate. And I'm like, you're crazy. I would
You're
not be good at
crazy.
real estate. But she's like, but it's talking to people and helping people. So, the more I thought about it, the more I said, what other options do I have? I had just turned 40. What options do I have? So, I got into it and here we are today.
Fantastic. What a great story. So, what I see from you is the way that you treat your clients is going to be with so much customer client appreciation because of your background in hospitality. And you probably surprise and delight your clients, and you are just the person to be with. So I love that when I look at someone and I look at how they do their business, very similar to the way I do my business. It's a referral based business, and you're giving them lots of love, and you know how to treat people coming from the hospitality industry. So that's fantastic. So tell us the areas you serve. So tell us from Indianapolis where your area exactly is, because our viewers have no idea where what is it,
Noble.
Noblesville is. Okay.
All
So
right,
let's
of
talk about
course.
that. Noblesville.
Yes. So, um, when people talk about Indianapolis, a lot of people think corn. Hey, it is true. They think, what is in Indiana? And I do not blame them one bit. So, Indianapolis, a lot of people have heard it's the home of the Indy 500, and that's pretty much most of all they can tell you, right? So, Indianapolis actually I think about 10 years ago, it was maybe the 10th or 12th something largest city. I'm sure that that's changed. But, it is a large city, not like Atlanta, where you are. But so I serve Indianapolis and all the surrounding suburbs. Now, most of my business, though, would be on the north side of Indy, like I said. So that
Okay.
consists of Noblesville, where I grew up, which is about 15 minutes north of Indianapolis, Fishers, which is about 5 minutes from Indianapolis, and then Carmel and Westfield. And that side of town is, of course, where I grew up. So I know every single street, neighborhood. But Indianapolis has, we have a lot to offer. But Indianapolis is set up in a circle, kind of like a big circle, and then the suburbs are kind of surrounding that. So I pretty much serve all those areas, but mostly focus on the north side.
Okay, fantastic. So you told us about that you know so much about Indianapolis. I mean, you've been there your whole entire life, which is really that's so interesting because a lot of people, like you said, you did travel and open up, hotels other places, and so you've seen a lot of places around the world, but you really came back to home, which I really do like. So tell us a little bit about average price points, like how much square footage, so say like a 3-2 single family home.
Right. Well, first I'll talk about Indianapolis proper.
Yes.
The city of Indianapolis, we have compared to a lot of our colleagues, as you know, it's a lot lower price point. So our median price right now is 254, which is uh, very low compared to some other cities around the country.
Sure.
And then when we talk about the suburbs, especially focusing on the northern suburbs, that price point is around, right now median is about 469. So, here we have very low cost of living, we have very low property taxes. And surprisingly, we actually just had a bill that passed this week where we're going to have even lower property taxes, which is unbelievable.
Nice.
So,
What are the
yes,
property taxes, say on a $400,000 property approximately?
probably about 3,500 a year,
Yeah, so it's
maybe
less
a
than
little.
1%. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And we have the homestead exemption, which
of
a lot of
course.
places have. Um, so it's a great place to live, and the low price point is really what draws people here, as well as some different industries.
Yes, and we'll get into that in a second. So
Sure.
what about investments? So like investors, is this a
Mhm.
hot area for investors? And are they making money on investments? And what kind of investors do you work with?
Well, and so yes, Indianapolis is very popular for investors, especially the city of Indianapolis, because of course there's lower price neighborhoods and that's where they tend to want to be. Also in Indianapolis, there are multifamily homes. In the suburbs,
Nice.
I don't see as many multifamily. It's very few and far between. So the multifamily, the duplex, the triplex, those are extremely popular in Indianapolis. We have a lot of investors and just like you do, that come from California, um, all over the world, Israel, you name it. And
Right.
they love the fact that Indianapolis has that low cost. And of course, there are neighborhoods and pockets where it's extremely cheap. So they do like to go in and do the flips and things like that. But
Yeah, no, that's
honestly,
great.
yeah, but I
I
will say honestly, in the suburbs, we have some, investors that really want those appreciating homes up there, and they are making money because the rents are higher.
Got it. So what you're saying is depending on your strategy for investing, you're either
Mhm.
going into the city or you're going into the suburbs. So what I can see is that you're asking a lot of questions to your clients if they're investors, and then you're
Mhm.
guiding them in the right direction of what they're looking for. And I think it's so important that people all want to be investors, but they don't realize there's so many different strategies, whether it's a flip, whether it's a hold for, like you said, equity for the future. So I
Mhm.
love that you can ask a lot of questions, and I love that you have different options. So
Yeah.
people like, I want to make this kind of cash flow per month, and you're able to guide them in the right direction. So I love that investing side. And I'm an investor myself, so I love that there's different areas of the country that we're also learning about for investing. So that's good. So let's dig into desirable neighborhoods and
Mhm.
why are they desirable? How about that?
Yes. So I always mention the north side. Of course, I grew up there, and that is where many of the nicer homes are. Of course, on all sides of town, we have some great suburbs. But again, since I work mostly on the north side, so we have some amazing suburbs: Carmel, Noblesville, Fishers, Westfield, and those are also homes in Zionsville as well. Those are homes to a lot of corporate executives. Of course, a lot of the athletes, because we do have the Colts, we have the Pacers. They're going to live, and not everyone, but for the most part, they're going to live up there on the north side in
Yes.
Fishers. So we have some sprawling, estates, gated communities, and things, and those are usually up there on the north.
Yeah, and that's really good to envision. So I think people, what they envision is you've got a lot of these athletes that work in
Mhm,
in the city, but they're not going to
mhm,
live in the city. They're going to
mhm.
move out in the suburbs with their families, and they're going to
Yeah,
have those nice estates. So there are like people, there aren't just all cornfields in Indiana. There are actually
yeah,
some really pretty
right.
estates, and there's pretty places there. All right, so what is the biggest draw of people relocating to your area?
Okay, so we have Eli Lilly, which is a pharmaceutical company. Their headquarters here in downtown Indianapolis. That's a
Okay.
very big a draw. We have tons of scientists and doctors and things coming from all over the country. Um, Motorsports, because if you know anything about the Indy 500, that's
Yes.
one of our main attractions. But not only that, the racing companies like to headquarter their, some of their headquarters here because it's a low cost. They get lots of tax breaks and things. So motorsports and then also manufacturing. You know, we have lots of land outside of Indianapolis. It's cornfields, like you said, and it truly is. 10 minutes outside of Indianapolis, and you're in corn or soybeans. So yeah, a lot of manufacturing. We have Cummins engines here. We have Rolls-Royce, who does cars, but also they do airplane engines and things. So we have those manufacturing. So I would say manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, racing, things like that.
Great. Fantastic. If someone moves to your area, what are their challenges? Any challenges that you see?
I always say to people, and I was just talking to my neighbor the other day, that we have such an easy way of living. Like I lived downtown Indianapolis for years, for a few years. I've lived all over, but we just have such an easy way of living compared to big cities like you live in. Um,
Yes.
I really, there aren't a ton of challenges except we have all the seasons. And if you don't like to be cold in the winter, well, get ready because it gets cold in the winter. And I think that's the thing that people complain about the most. Otherwise, it's very easy to live here.
All right. Well, then let's dig into the climate. So it's kind of give us a guidance on what months we see the four seasons, what months are those seasons, and kind of the temperature,
Mhm.
the average temperature in those each one of those
Oh,
seasons.
yes, let's talk about it. So,
Let's talk
um,
about the seasons.
let's talk about winter first. So, you know what? Over the past few years, I will be honest and tell you that it has not been quite as cold in the winter. We have hardly gotten any snow, believe it or not, these past 4 or 5 years, which is to me great.
Yes.
But of course, as soon as I say that, next year we'll have a blizzard or something. So
Right.
basically, winter, I say, it starts getting colder. Um, sometimes before Thanksgiving, but a lot of times it's been after Thanksgiving or around that time,
Mhm.
all the way though until it could be April. Now, here's the thing. In March, we had some really nice 70-degree temperatures, which is a miracle. You just never know in that March, April. So we could have spring or we could have winter spring. But that's really you have to prepare to have a coat with you November through potentially April, and you went to Indianapolis last year and noticed that in April it was freezing some of those days. So you
One
just
day
never
it
know.
was really hot and one day it was really cold. So there you go. You can't, I
Yes.
mean, you can't, the temperature is, but okay, how about summertime? Like
Yeah.
how hot does it really get?
Yeah. Nothing compared to the South. Nothing. Because my sister lives in Alabama, and let me tell you something. Florida, Alabama, Georgia, I can't live that way. My body is not made for this. So of course we get days where it's 90, but it's not, there's nothing that compares to that humidity in the South. I don't
It's not
care.
like 45 days and straight of 90 and above.
No, no, no. And you know what? The main attraction in Indiana in the fall is the leaves. It is so beautiful. I cannot
Oh,
describe to you. And that is my favorite time of year, and it is just worth seeing. It's so nice.
yes. Okay. So the fall is great and I love it. So you can come and see all the different fall colors and stuff.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about what are the most popular activities and hobbies that people enjoy in your city?
Okay. Well, it's embarrassing to say, but honestly, we love to eat. I'm going to be honest with you. Like in the Midwest, what else, what do we have to do? Well, we love eating. So lots of restaurants, Indianapolis, we're a really, really big convention city. So it's very centrally located. The cost for people to travel here and for people to, eat and do activities is low. So we have tons of huge conventions throughout the year, firefighters and international. We have Bands of America. We have so many huge conventions, Future Farmers of America, which is funny because
Yes.
yes, we are near corn, but those draw hundreds of thousands of people. So we love festivals. I'll be honest with you. We do love festivals here in Indiana
Mhm.
because we have a lot of things we can do in the fall, the spring. Um, we we like eating. We like going to museums and other attractions, just like everyone else. We just do the basic things, but we love eating.
And racing and
Yes,
breweries. Tell us a little
racing,
bit about
racing.
some of the breweries that you have. Are they in the city or are they in the suburbs as well?
You know what? It's really funny because I think over the past 5 to 7 years, like that has exploded probably everywhere
Yes.
in the US, but like
Yes.
during COVID, it's like, well, what do you do? Go to the brewery. But we have a lot of them and a lot more popping up in the suburbs, kind of in more rural areas where they have these sprawling, landscapings outside where you can hang and do things and be more than just a brewery, like an event center, right?
Right.
But we have some cool ones in the city too, but it seems like they're kind of in the suburbs spread out more.
Yeah, and breweries have become so popular, and some breweries have food and some have food trucks outside. So what is that normal, a food truck in a
Yeah.
brewery? Okay.
Yes, and I've seen that more and more, but it's kind of cool because depending on the weather, of course, in the winter, people are inside and they have a lot of them have food, but they just built a new brewery around here in close to me, and it has 3 acres in the back, like woods and people, and they deliver food out there to you, and it's just so nice, something different, right?
Right. And I think everyone is looking for an experience like when they're going out.
Mhm.
So I think,
Yes.
exercising experience, but yet you can go to a brewery and have a beautiful view and it's not just of, you know, a boring kind of view. So I love
Right.
that. You're having an experience. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the food scene. Let's talk about the culture, music, museums, theaters. So do you have them in the suburbs or do you go to the city for those type of things?
Yeah, it seems like we go to the city for these type of things. The symphony, the theater, we have Hamilton coming here, which I cannot wait. I'm
Oh, I
so
love
excited.
Hamilton. Yes.
Yes, very excited. But it's like sometimes they skip Indianapolis. They like to go to Chicago and things like that. But this year we're getting something like that. But it seems like we would go to Indianapolis for a lot of these cultural things for some of the festivals and museums. We have one of the world's largest children's museum, which is actually really amazing because they have special nights for adults, and it's really cool. Of course, you went to the Indiana State Museum.
Yes.
It's
That
all
was
about
great.
Indiana. Yeah. And then we also have the Idle Jorg, which is a Native American museum. We have a lot of things downtown on our canal, which is like a little waterway. But yeah, going
And
into Indianapolis will be weird. Yeah.
you're so close to the city. You're 15, 20 minutes away. Now, and the
Yeah.
same for the airport. So it's really
Hmm.
where you live is such a great location because you're not having to drive forever to get to an airport or anything like that, which gets us into traffic. Okay. Tell us a little bit. Is there traffic? Is it bad in the suburbs or getting into the city if you have to commute? And I would say, do a lot of people that live in your area commute to the city? Just want to kind of touch base on that.
Yes. So I am so thankful that we do not have a lot of traffic. And of course, do we have a little bit of rush hour traffic every day? Of course we do, because we do have a big loop, 465. And yes, sometimes it gets backed up. But when I tell you, our traffic is nothing compared to other cities. I mean, it doesn't really matter what side of town you're on. So with Indianapolis, I could get to the very far southern suburbs, all the way to the northern suburbs in about 30, 35 minutes. Even if there
Wow.
was traffic, maybe 40, maybe. But,
Yeah.
no, in our suburbs, I will tell you, we have tons of roundabouts, which alleviates so much traffic. And I wish other places would catch on to this. We have a city next to mine in Carmel where they have 120 roundabouts and there is never any
Wow.
traffic. Yes,
I love
it's
that. And
amazing.
that
Yes,
becomes very European with all the
yes,
roundabouts. Like the
yes.
roundabouts just, and we started getting a bunch here and it definitely helps with the
Yeah,
traffic
for
in the
sure.
suburbs where I live. Like doesn't happen
Mhm.
in, Atlanta, we all know Atlanta traffic is just horrible. Even
Oh,
though they're expanding roads and everything else, it's just more people are moving here. So obviously, but I live in the suburbs. So I mean, I don't deal with, I don't go out during those crazy times. But the thing is for our issue is getting to the airport.
oh,
So we always have to book our flights on either early in the morning, midday, or late at night. So we're not in during the rush hour driving to the airport because that always can be so much fun. So what's the overall like vibe of your area?
you know what? It's laid back, it's easy. Indianapolis, of course, is a little more busy and maybe more, if you will, hustle and bustle, but not like other big cities like
Sure.
Boston, Atlanta, you know. It's
New
just
York?
easy to live here. It's laid back. People are laid back. And if someone from the Northeast comes here, they might be a little annoyed by that. And I get it
Yeah.
because it's like, but people are laid back, friendly. They're going to come up and talk to you, whether you like it or not. So, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I know, like, I was in Indianapolis and we were talking about food, and it has a lot of good steak restaurants. Really
Yes.
does. And
Yes.
my husband was with me actually when we were in Indianapolis last year, and he was trying all the different steak restaurants and comparing and contrasting them. So that's very interesting that you're kind of known for your steakhouses there.
Yes.
So I want to learn a little bit about you. What do you like to do outside of real estate?
Yes. What do I like to do? I love going to concerts. When I was younger, that was my main hobby. I had a
You go
bunch
to
of
concerts.
friends.
I love it. What's your favorite concert that you've been to? Or two,
Well, yeah,
three?
let me tell you. I used to love, and when I say used to, this was college and the younger years, but I loved going to any music festival, you name it.
Okay.
I went to the very first Bonnaroo. Remember that? Like it was weird, but it was fun, right? But I love Dave Matthews Band. I've been to so many concerts. I've traveled so near and far to see him with groups of friends. But see, I live in a town that has an amazing outdoor amphitheater, and it was built
Oh,
in
wow. Okay.
the 80s. Deer Creek is what it was called. Um, but it's in our suburb, and it was way out in the country back then, but now it's built, things have been built up around it. But I love going to concerts. I love traveling. Like we're going to Disney next week. I'm so excited. Let's see.
And you
I
said
love going to,
eating. All right, let's talk
yes.
about eating. Like you said, I love to eat. You're so funny because
Yeah.
you're really skinny, so I don't understand. I
No.
love to eat. So what are some of your favorite restaurants or foods or anything that you can kind of give our viewers some guidance if they come to Indianapolis? Where should they be eating?
Yes, that's one of my pastimes. So I love Mexican food. That's probably my favorite. Of course, like you said, I love a steakhouse. Most people do. Gosh, in Indianapolis, St. Elmo's is a great restaurant to go to. That's downtown. We have a lot of really, really good sports bars downtown. I do love a sports bar. Um, but we have a lot of really good Indian restaurants and Thai places. But Mexican food is probably my favorite. And I love going to a festival where they have all different food trucks or vendors where you can try different things. So yeah.
I love it. So you're really expand your culture with just all the food and fooding and eating and
Yeah.
foodie in Indianapolis too. And when we went there, we went to some really unique restaurants, which I really did enjoy too as well. Okay, so let's talk about travel because you talked about travel, and I asked this question to everybody because I feel like people get to know you. So tell us where you travel to, like one or two of your favorite destinations, and maybe one or two that's on your bucket list.
Yes, well, I'll have to admit, I'm not as well traveled as you. I know you're a world traveler. I know that for a fact. But let me tell you, one of my favorite cities is Boston.
Yes.
Now, I was moved there for with Marriott for about 2 years, and I'm going to tell you that I love everything about it. I love the food, of course. I love the atmosphere, the hustle and bustle where, I don't have to drive, I can get on the train,
Yes.
there's so many different cultures there, which I love, and I will say over the years, Indiana, we have gotten more cultural, but not like the bigger cities. And I just love meeting new people and from all different cultures, right? So Boston was a really awesome place. That's one of my favorite places. I
I love
also,
Boston too. Boston's a
oh
great,
my
great
gosh,
city. Really is.
I
And it's
just,
easy to get around. It's like you don't need a car. Like you don't need a car. You can get around everywhere. You can go to all the different, like the Italian area and this area. And and you're right. And being a foodie, yes, Boston's definitely a place for you.
yes, give me
I
some
love
pasta, give me any sort of pastries that there are. Um, I will say another place I really like and that they moved me to as well is Fort Collins. It's not a big city, but Fort Collins,
it.
Colorado. I'm not a real
Nice.
outdoorsy type person as far as like I don't like I live in Indiana. I'm not a hiker or anything like that,
Right.
but
Mhm.
living there, I kind of learned that that's what they love to do. And I really got to experience some cool things like going to Estes Park, which is way up in the mountains, and just
Mhm.
that's such a totally different lifestyle than I was used to, but I loved it and I just thought it was one of the coolest places.
Yes.
Yes.
And what's really kind of cool there, I'm sure, is you've got the winter and the summer is so different, but yet it's
Mhm.
so cool. Like the summertime, like you have to go, like there's certain places you have to go in the winter and summer in order to
Mhm.
appreciate that place. And that's probably
Yes.
one of the places you need to go. You need to experience the winter there and then the summer with all the
Mhm.
hiking and all the fun rafting and everything that you can do, I'm sure is amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So you gave us two amazing cities in the US. And what's on your bucket list? Two places you definitely want to see in the next 10 years that I can keep you
Yeah.
accountable for. How about that?
Yes. We wanted to go to Egypt before. Now we had
Yes.
started planning and saving for it before COVID. And then the year kind of that we had decided that we were going to go, COVID hit. So we
Mhm.
put our plans on the back burner, but I've always wanted to go to Egypt. I don't know. It's funny, you're gonna laugh. Ever since I was little and watched that Ten Commandments movie, remember the old
Yes.
fashioned
You're
of
like, I
course,
love Egypt. I love Egypt. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
just a little tidbit. I was supposed to go to Egypt in 2020 in April 26, 2020. We were supposed to go to Egypt and that was canceled and it was rescheduled 4 different times. Still haven't gotten there. Still on my bucket list. We will do it soon. But yes,
mm,
so I can relate because you were saving your money for it and I was
mm,
supposed to be going and then COVID hit. And honestly, when COVID hit, we were like, oh, it's going to be fine. We're going to be able to go because COVID hit like March, right? So we're like, oh,
mhm.
6 weeks later, everything should be fine in the world. Who would have known what this world came to after that? So anyway, I
Right.
love that. Egypt, definitely one of my places. All right, tell me one more, just one more.
You know what? This probably isn't popular. I don't know. I never hear, but I want to go to China. I
Yes.
do. I've seen so many beautiful pictures and how amazing their skyline is. It's like New York City does not even come close to how some of these major cities in China. I just want to see their culture. I want to experience that. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, anywhere in Asia. Asia's so amazing, and definitely when you venture over there, you have to take a lot of time because it's taking you a long time to get over there. So
Right.
it's nice to be able to accommodate a certain amount of time so that you can see a lot of things there. All right, so I have one more question for you, and I know that we all have some amazing stories about our clients and how we work with our clients. I would love to hear one story on one of the most rewarding real estate transactions and why.
Well, there are a few, but honestly, my favorite one, last year I had a first-time home buyer who, of course, had never purchased a home and they were 65 years old. As we know, the average age for a first-time home buyer has risen over the years to about 38 years old. But this home buyer had never been able to purchase a home. She had always rented, and she decided that it was time. So it was
Mhm.
just really nice, and it was really special to see how excited she was and to help her, live that dream, of finding the home and walking her through the whole process, because of course she didn't know the process. And it was just really satisfying, and I love working with buyers for that reason, because it's just so satisfying to help someone and to see their dreams come true.
Yeah, and I mean, that just really I mean, just that story, this is the type of agent you wanna do business with. So, I mean, what I see from you is your background in hospitality, working for Marriott, opening up and doing event planning and all that kind of stuff is that, you know, think about it, when someone's purchasing a home, it's a big event in their life. So you are facilitating the event from the beginning to the end, and you're doing surprise and delights all in between that. And I feel like that's what people really want to know about you is that when they do business with you, this is what they get. And they get really, you have such a big heart and you have such great big background. And that's what I really do appreciate about you. So anyway, you can
Thank
smile
you.
and say things, whatever. So I have just one more thing. Is there anything that you want to tell our viewers that we did not discuss?
Well, just come visit Indianapolis. Come see for yourself. We do have a lot of great things. Again, for people who thought maybe they want to invest here or even move here, because we have had people move here from all over the country who are looking for a lower cost of living. I've had people from Florida recently move up here, lower taxes, lower cost of living, lower insurance costs, and it's just a really easy way of life. If you're looking for a way of life that's easy, where you can go downtown and not feel stressed, and you can just live a really easy life, I think it's worth a visit here, at least to see what we have.
Yes, and my first time in my life actually to Indianapolis was last year, and I was just really impressed on how they were reviving the city in certain areas. So I really
Yeah.
feel like that they're just putting a lot of money into the city and building some
Mhm.
great new areas and stuff. So when is the best time to invest? Now, because I'm telling you, the prices are going to go skyrocketing in Indianapolis because they are building all those new buildings and the
Mhm.
in what is it, modern style, right? A lot of them.
Mhm. Right.
And what I do like about Indianapolis, that a lot of places, like, we don't have a lot of duplexes and triplexes
Oh,
and those type things in Atlanta. We really don't. They're not in good areas if are around. So I love
sure.
that if you're an investor and you're looking for those type of multifamilies, you need to talk to Jennifer. So anyway,
Yes,
all right.
absolutely.
So thank you so much for being on our little podcast and
Mhm.
video chat about your area. So I wanted people to really get to know you as a person, as an agent, and really dig into those suburbs of Indianapolis so that you can envision yourself there and just go visit Jennifer. And if you're looking for an inexpensive place to live that has so many of the things, like, you can get a flight out of Indianapolis
Mhm.
easily and go anywhere in the world. I think that that's a good choice, whether you're retiring or you're a first time home buyer or you're a move up buyer and you want that lifestyle. So thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.